What's going on, people? Esau is very evil. The so-called white man, they're very evil. They are very, very wicked and very, very evil. I'm gonna show y'all that. Y'all know I do my research with my stuff here. I have here. Have the who is Esau Edom and Babylon Temple of Two. Mhm. Yeah, the so-called white man is very evil. I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna go. Let's go into the book of Psalms, and we have to understand that God is talking about the Edomites, Esau, Edom. And I love, man, y'all just don't know how much pride I take in wanting to share this information with my people. What's up, Sister Trina? Shout out to you out there for hearing me out today. You know, neighbors live down there. Shout out to you. I'm gonna bring some information. Okay. Okay, I'm basically looking for the scripture. Now, let's look at this right here. Psalms 37. Let's start at verse 37. Psalms chapter 37, verse 37. Mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. This is talking about the Israelites. Let's keep going. Verse 38. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. Now, this is also going into the transgressor. This is talking about because only the people that can sin is the Israelites that was given the law. But the so-called white man can't sin because the law was not given to them. God just used them as to punish us in these ways. But the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The transgressors will be destroyed with Esau. The end of the wicked shall be cut off. Who is the wicked? Let's find out in the context who the wicked is. Let's go to Job 9 and 24. Here we go. Thank God he gave it to me right here. The earth is given unto the hand of the wicked. He covers the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So it says he covers the faces of the judges. I'm gonna show y'all what I mean by that. See this man here? This man, y'all see these are so-called white people, right? That is not God. That is not God at all. So when it say he covers the faces of the judges, that's what they did. They covered up what Christ looked like. because he does not look like nothing like this. Is not, he doesn't look nothing like this in the Bible. The Bible doesn't even show him looking like that. That's a white man. That's not what the angels and the prophets of God in the Bible look like. All of the angels and the prophets of God in the Bible are black people. Black people is the original people on this planet. Although that you got the tribe of Ephraim and all these, they later on they came looking different because Israel, the black people, started mixing with the other nations. And when we started mixing with the other nations, then this thing, the Christians, the Christians got confused. The Christians is the one that's in error. They are. So let's go to get some further information. Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48. This is the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha means the hidden books or the lost books of the Bible. All right. Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48. Now, I should have got my glass. Well, the words is big in the Bible, but the words are smaller. See, when you tell, I did 3 videos earlier today. It was three videos that I did earlier today. Part 1 and a 2 and a 3. And the only reason why I did a part 1, part 2, and a 3, they accidentally cut out. So I think one, I hit it one time, and I think that it was hot outside, and the phone just was hot, and if it get hot, it'll cut out. That's just the way it'll do. Which is probably a good thing, is letting you know it's overheated or something. But that's why I did a part 1, part 2, and part 3, and I did a part 4. When you tell people the truth, you lose friends. When you tell people the truth, you lose now real friend you're not, but so-called friends you will lose them. All right, so let's get this here, the scripture here, and I'm gonna show y'all. The earth is given unto the hands of the wicked, and he covers the faces of the judges there. And if not, where and who is he? All right, I just showed you. This is the so-called white man. So we're going to read in the book of Obadiah, and we're going to break some stuff down. All right. Let's look at Obadiah, Habakkuk. I don't know if y'all can see that. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 3. I think it's Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 48. And he lay open the book of the law. They opened the Bible. This is what they literally did. They opened the Bible, and they opened the book of the law, talking about the Bible, wherein the heathens is the white man and all the other nations, and had sought to paint that. And he lay open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likenesses of their images. And this is what the white man has done. They took and painted all those images of Christ white. That's what they did. And they got a part in here where, in the Babylon Temple of 2, where the Maccabees took, I'm going to see if I can find it. I'm going to see if I can actually find it. Let's see if I can get it. If not, I'm going to have to come back. Now, the Hamite, let's just read this since I'm here. The Hamites began to arrive in Africa from the Middle East between 500 and 500, between 50,000 and 3,500 BC. These Hamites were, according to the Hebrew, maximum Egypt, Pillar, Silon, and the land, and where in Westwood, and Cush. Cush, that's the Ethiopian, those are Africans. Ethiopian, the Hamites, Canaanites, and the Phoenicians. The Canaanites in the Phoenician is a like a Hebrew language or something like that, I believe. Phoenicians did not colonize North Africa until the 9th century BC. The Hamites, Canaanites, Phoenicians did not colonize. Now that's what colonize. That means they took and named these lands after their own land. You see what I'm saying? They took the black people's land and named these lands after them. They called their lands after their own name. They took these people's lands and named these lands another land and call them and put their names up and they stole their names and put them up on themselves and then took they original wicked ass names and then turn around and took and put it on the Israelites and gave our people a false identity. And they took our people's true identity and put it on themselves to make themselves look like the real Jews. That's basically what they're talking about here. This is page Babylon Temple of Two, page 54. Babylon Temple of Two, page 54. The Hamites began to arrive in Africa from the Middle East between 50,000 and 500 BC. These Hamites were, according to the Hebrew, Mizraim, Egypt, Pella, Sidon, Simon, Land, Simon land, and Westwood, and Cush, Ethiopia. The Hamites, Canaanites, Phoenicians did not colonize North Africa until the 9th century BC, when they established the city of the Carthage at Tunis. The Egyptians and their descendants as Ledim, Anaman, Lehabim, Naphthalim, and Patharim, Casluim, and Palestinium, and the Catharim, and the Naphthalim settled in the Nile Delta, and Pasrim is the city of patrons in the Upper Egypt. Mayim and Casluim also settled in various sections of Egypt, but the Lehabim and Ludim occupied the territory. They occupied, that means they took the land, occupied these territories that wasn't theirs. They occupied the territory west of Egypt, now called Libyan, and Westwood, Captarim, occupied the islands of Crete in the Mediterranean Sea, and the Palestinian eventually inhabited the lower coast of Palestine when the Israelites under Joshua ben Nu invaded the land of Canaan. Many of the Hamites, Canaanites tribes migrated to North Africa. That means they was taking these lands. Now let's read that. Let's get a scripture based upon what I just read in the Bible. Let's go to Psalm 49 and 11. Their inward thoughts is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. That's what I just said. This is in the Bible. This is in the Bible, people. This is Psalms chapter 49 and 11. Their inward thoughts is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And this is what the Hamites did. The Hamites began to arrive in Africa from the Middle East between 50,000 and 3,500 BC. This was way before Christ. BC means before Christ. AD means after Christ. These Hamites were, according to the Hebrew Mizraim, Egypt, Pella, Simon Land, Sola, Liam, and Westwood, and Cush, Ethiopia. Cushite, them Cushites, that's the Ethiopian. That's the modern day tribe for Ethiopians. Cush, Ethiopian, the Hamites, Canaanite, um, Phoenicians. The Phoenicians did not colonize North Africa until the 9th century BC, when they established the city of Carthage at Tunis. The Egyptians, the Egyptians and their descendants at are Ludim, and Anamiah, Lee Habit, Lee Habin, Naphtali, Pesram, Cushilam, Palestinians, and the Catharim, and the Naphthalim settled in the Nile, Data, Dea, and Pesharim is the city of Patros in the Upper Egypt. Anameim, Anameim, Cushilam also settled in various sections of Egypt, but the Lehabim, and Leodim occupied the territory. That's what it means. Occupy means they took these land. This is not the land. All them Hamites, Africans that took over Mesopotamia and all the place, that's not their original land. They stole that land when they enslaved the Israelites, because the Africans enslaved our people too. And the West Captarim occupied the islands of Crete in the Mediterranean Sea, and Palestine eventually inhabited the lower coast of Palestine. When the Israelites see, they occupied that space. The original Palestinians, the original Greeks, are all black people. The people, them people that's over there calling themselves under all these names, that's not their land, and that land does not belong to them. It belongs to black people, our people, the original people, Palestinian. When the Israelites under Joshua ben Nun invaded the land of Canaan, many of the Hamites, Canaanites tribe migrated to North Africa. They all migrated to North Africa. But Joshua ben Nun invaded the land of Canaan. Many of the Hamites, Canaanites tribes migrated to North Africa. The Cushites inhabited East Africa along the coast and parts of the interior. More Ethiopians and black Shemites crossed the Red Sea from from the southern tip of Arabia and travailed into the interior of Africa. The entire continent of Africa was populated from the north and the east. Mary Henderson Bradley doing her journey through the the oh, I don't even know what that is. I forgot what it was. Gaia. I don't even know what that is. And related a story of the experience Watsai of Ru Rodin. She says they have an exact theology, the account of the creation of the word, in a tradition that they came down from the north. Also, Herman Nordin writes about the people of Uganda having a legion of crossing the Nile centuries ago. Uganda is south of Nile and east of the Congo. The third city of Ham is Pella, sometimes written putting the descendants of Put. The descendants of Put have been found in the entire area below the Syrian desert. They use the name Fato and Foul, okay, and the pole. And let's see here. These tribes have disseminated themselves across Africa from Simon, Simon, some Lyland to Senegal. Professor Garby says that they have prefixed their name to almost every district of any extent which they have ever occupied. They have fair Toro. I don't even know what that is, y'all, but the Senegal and all of this stuff, Egypt and the land of the Nile. Yeah, this is all talking about the Hamites. So I can't pronounce all them different words. Some of them is hard. Black civilization in Africa. This is called Black civilization in Africa. Yes. So before we embark on our voyage into African civilization, I think that it would be interesting to read to the readers and the students of African history to know how the content of Africa received its name. That's what I was actually talking to. So, Sister Trine, if you get this, this is part of what I was talking about. This is in Babylon Temple of Two, and I'm gonna be doing some more videos on reading this here. Before we embark on our voyage into African civilization, I think that it would be interesting to know to the readers and students of African history to know how the content of Africa received its name. And this came through one of the Abraham's sons too, through Keturah. They took his name, Abraham's son, Keturah, because you know all of the children of Abraham was not chosen by God. It was only the seed of Isaac. Yep. It's okay, right here it says, and the sons of Midian, Ephod, and Hanok, and Abiadan, and Ediah. All these were the children of Keturah. Okay, Keturah. And Abraham gave up that he had, and Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac. So Isaac was the promised seed that we'll get off into that. But unto the sons of the concubine that was like the whores. A a concubine which Abraham had. Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from gave them gifts and sent them away from Isaac, his son, while he yet lived eastward. He lived eastward unto the east country. In those days of the years of Abraham's life, which he lived 160 and 15 years. So this is when the Hamites they came and occupied all these space. That's why they call themselves East African and East this and all that kind of stuff. Now let's keep going. First of all, the ancient periods of the black Hebrews referred to Egypt in the garden of the northeastern gates of Africa as the land of Ham. That's what I just said. Ham is the youngest son of Noah. The Bible ethologist uses the epon, eponyms name Ham because they were conscious of the fact that many of Ham's descendants traveled from Asia toward the south and inhabit the continent we know today as Africa. It seemed that there were no Semites or Indo-Europeans in the land of Ham, Africa before the enslavement of the Hebrews, right? That's right. And the Hyksos, 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 Hyksos. I don't even know if that's right or not. Hyksos. And envision ancient Palestine was part of the land of Ham before the Hebrews came and expelled the Hamite Canaanites. It appears that the early anthropologists and ethologists classified race on the basis of cultural development and not on the basis of kinship. But the Hebrews are an exception. They are Greeks, the early Greeks, that's talking about the white people, so called white people, distinguished between Hellenes and barbarians because they went they wanted their own people to appear superior. Some of them claim that they originated everything. And they didn't. And the advanced Romans felt culturally superior to the northern barbarian tribe, and they enslaved many of these barbarians. The Egyptians subjugated and sold other African tribes that were inferior to them in the culture, and they conceived of themselves as racially and culturally superior to other undeveloped people. So what happened was when our people ran from the Greeks, when they ran our people out of Jerusalem and they went to Africa in 70 AD, they was running for their life in 70 AD because they was running from those Greeks that was up on the temple and was seizing the temple and was persecuting the Israelites, the Jews. You see what I'm saying? And that's what was going on. Matter of fact, let's look on page I think it's 65, I believe. Let's get that. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm gonna give you the exact year that the people was running from the Romans. I'll find it because I used to like kind of read this a lot sometimes. Okay, I'm gonna find it. The Jews of Madagascar, Republican. Okay, here we go, right here. The temple above the altar to this is on page Babylon Temple, page the North African Black Jews. That's what this is talking about. But I'm gonna skip and I'm gonna go to page uh 84. Babylon Temple of Two. It says temple above the altar. Should I read down? Yeah, that's what I read. Temple above the altar. To this state, the people brought the sacrifices of pig meat, the animals, which is an abomination to the Jews because of this religious persecution. The, the legitimate high priest owns Onias the third had many other Jews flee unto Africa. See that? Onias the third had many other Jews flee unto African centers such as Egypt, Ethiopia. All of these are African people, Ethiopian, and Cyrene and Libyan throughout the last 2,500 years. The main factors that have contributed to social immigration of the Jews, migration of the Jews were wars, religious persecution, and commercials. All these factors were operating and given raise to the African Jewish population. The Jewish means people that are not real Jews. And I'm gonna break that word Jewish down later on. It says in the year 65 BC. Now, see, in the year 65 BC, I want y'all to pay that some attention. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. See that's when the Romans, that's when they was persecuting the Jews, captured Jerusalem in 70 AD. Remember I said that by 70 AD. 70 AD, the general Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military government of the Palestine, many outrage and artistic and arches were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled unto Africa. See that? Fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. Now, some people will read that and they will try to say that this man lied, but this book was written by Rudolph Winsor. It says, during the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled unto Africa. See that? Fleeing from Roman persecution. They're fleeing from the white people. That's what it was. That's what it's really saying. Fleeing from the Caucasian people, fleeing from the Caucasian persecution. That's what it really means. And slavery. Fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. And the Lord shall scatter thee amongst all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. That means that a lot of our people, God, that was part of the curses too. God took and scattered us in other parts of the world because he said that we will be scattered, we will be taken from our homeland by the enemies, the Caucasian people, which is called the Greeks. The modern day the people, the modern day name for the modern day name for Caucasian for the Greeks today is the Caucasian people. All right. Verse, okay, this prophecy and all the residue of the prophecies continued in Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15 through 68, before the black Jews, after they disobeyed the laws of God. You see that? That's what we was talking about. Many nations transported the Jews unto slavery, and the sons of Israel transmigrated to every content. That means in every parts of the world, like China, England, Africa, uh, Saudi Arabia, them lands over there, all of that. It said, matter of fact, let me read that one more time. This prophecy and all of the residue of the prophets containing in Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, before the black Jews, after they disobeyed the laws of God, many nations transported the Jews unto slavery. They went into slavery, and the sons of Israel transmigrated to every continent. The Jewish philosophers Phileo about 40 BC to 40 AD. 40, that means BC means before Christ, and AD means after Christ, who lived in Alexandria, Egypt, and said that 1 million Jews resided in Libya and from the Catabathmos to the border of Ethiopia. Professor A.H. Gaba says that Phileo leaves us doubtful about which boundaries of Ethiopia he boundaries of Ethiopia, because the prophet Zephaniah mentioned from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, the daughters of my dispersed. There was a period of over 600 years before Zephaniah and Phileo, and considering the new waves of immigration came unto Africa, and they had 600 years to penetrate toward all the borders of Ethiopia. E wrote that the Hebrewism was detectable by its inscriptions from the Egyptian border westward across North Africa to the Mediterranean. No, Africa to Mediterranean. A. H. Gaba says Jerome uh, 340, 420 AD. One of the four doctors of the church wrote that the Jews were spreaded from the western extremely of Monetarian to India. Now, ancient Monetarian included parts part of the territory on the Atlantic Ocean, Morocco, and part of modern Algeria. It is certain that the Jews had migrated all across North Africa by the second century. Some scholars fix the date earlier than this. The Greek historians and geographical Strombo 60 3 BC and 24 AD said concerning the Jews of Cyrene and Libya, now these Jews already have gotten into all of the cities, and it is hard to find a place in the inhabited earth that had not admitted this tribe of men and is not possessed by it. So it's a lot that I can pretty much read in this thing here. And I think I answered a lot of the, hopefully this don't sound too bad, but in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies, Pompey, captured Jerusalem. You see what I'm saying? And they took these people into slavery. So Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 64 says that our people, because they didn't listen to God, and if you notice, I said that because our people didn't keep the commandments, right? Let's look at, let's go to that. I'll tell you what, let's look at the law in keeping the commandment. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 1 and 2. The Bible said, now these are the commandments and the statutes and the judgment which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whether ye go to possess it, that thou mayest fear the Lord thy God to keep all his commandments and his commandments which I commanded thee, that thou and thy son and thy son's sons all the days of thy life, and that thy days may be prolonged. Hear therefore, O Israel, that's talking about Israel, and observe to do it, that it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily. He said it's gonna go well with you, right? So now he's telling you all throughout the Bible is all about keeping the commandments. If you look at Deuteronomy chapter 7 and uh, verse 2, and when the Lord thy God shall, Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 2, it says, and when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them, and shall utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them. That means don't agree with none of their customs, don't agree to none of their teachings or none of that. It said, thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Don't even show mercy to them. Neither shall thou make marriages with them. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy sons from following me. That's verse 4 of Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 4. For they will turn away thy sons from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. That was the key. This is the reason why that our people went into slavery in the first place. They kept eating damn pork. They kept um, not keeping the commandments of God. You can eat whatever you want to eat. You good. Him that is weak in the faith, receive you not. And all that shit got us into slavery. Now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 because we didn't want to listen. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. The Bible says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe." Hearken means to listen, and to observe means is to pay attention. To do all his commandments and his statutes, which I commanded thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. He said, you're going to get the curses. Now let's read about what some of them are. The Bible says, curses should not be in the city. When you look into every city and neighborhood in our community, where are we living at? Are we living rich? Are we living good? No, we got to pay rent. We paying high rent. Some of us paying $1,000. Some of us might be paying $2,000 rent. But that's a curse. It says, "Curses should not be in the city, and curses should not be in the field." The modern day field today that we are cursed in, when we go and work on these jobs from 9 to 5, we don't get a proper good pay. They work you more hours and give you less money. That's a curse. So let's go to verse 64, Deuteronomy 28 and 64. The Bible says, now this is another curse. It said, "And the Lord shall scatter thee amongst all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." That wood and stone and serving other gods would be the Catholic Church. That wood and stone would be the God of Christianity. The wood and stone would be serving white Jesus. That's it. That's that wood and stone. He said, if we didn't listen, we was gonna be eating hog meat and all that type of stuff. He said that our enemies fed that to our people in slavery. And that's the reason why we rebel against God to this day, is because our forefathers and foremothers, everything that we're doing right now, they was like that. We're just worse than they are. So that's one of the curses. In Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verses 64, it said, "And the Lord shall scatter thee amongst all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone." And look what the Bible says, "And amongst these nations shall thou find no ease, and neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest." That means we're not going to be able to find peace with these other nations. We're going to be trying to depend upon them as to serve us, voting for them and all that. But we really realize we're not going to have no peace with these people. That's what the Bible said. "Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind." We're going to be always disappointed and distressed, dependent upon the other nation. And that was a curse. He said we was going to have to depend upon the other nations for everything. So I'm not going to keep it out too long. I kept it out long enough. Matter of fact, let me put the link to that. No, I think I did. I don't. It's no need for me to put the new link here. You know what I'm saying? I put it on my other channel. But I did. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna have to go on my other channel and put the. I think I already did it. I'm tripping. I already did it, so it's gonna need me to put the link, no, in here. But I think I'll do it anyway, just for the sake of just creating stuff. I'll just go ahead. I just went on ahead and put it in there anyway. All right, I'm gonna see y'all later, and I'm gonna get up out of here, and we'll talk a little bit later.